Good morning. It is the 13th. I'm pretty well rested. I slept quite a long time. Snoozed my alarm a little bit, so I will have to adjust the schedule as per usual. A few days actually can match the schedule well. So yeah, I'm just gonna make myself some coffee, just get to writing straight away. So I'll update you with whatever word count we're working with. I do have to, oh yeah, I do have to outline that new chapter because I just started a new chapter. So I'll do that and then I'll have to get to 1,800 words. It's a good 400 to 500 word outlines usually. I like to be somewhat in depth with at least the important things because there's a lot of important things to track in such a long novel. Yeah. It's only my fourth book, but it might have been a little crazy to choose such a long one so early in the game. But I just want to get it done. I just want to have that under my belt at least, because the more experience you have with these long kind of format stories, is you just get better at planning them out. You get better at just intuitively. Just putting it all together in a simply put way. But yeah, so I'll get that coffee and we'll get to writing. All right, my homo habilises. I finished the little summary, little outline for myself. Let me see how long it is. Honestly, it took me a minute to make it for some reason. It's at 433 words. There you go. So yeah. Yeah, took a lot of time to do that, so now I'm gonna actually have to start writing the chapter. It's a pretty good outline. Seems like a really fun chapter. Honestly, it's just been banger after banger in my opinion. I've had a lot of fun writing it in general, and yeah, I've been really careful of filler and whatnot, and everything has been pretty moves everything pretty well in a good consecutive order. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm on chapter 25 now, so 12 more chapters left. We end at chapter 37. That's the final one. Honestly, the last, I think, 5 chapters are just one big battle scene. But yeah, that's actually... Yeah, the last 5 chapters are just one big battle scene that takes place in one day. From I already put in the exact time. It starts at 10 a.m. ends at 7:50 p.m. So it's 10 a.m. now, so it's time for the battle against the blank page once again. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. This is some fun stuff. Oh god, in 10 chapters we're gonna have a really crazy one. It's honestly it's kind of, there's just so much conflict at this point in the story. And so much driving the characters all over the place that it's just so fun. It's just so fun. It's pretty addicting to write. I hope it's addicting to read because it's a fat book. So you have to make it exciting for people to read 800 pages. So that's exactly what I'm trying to do. I would read it. I mean, of course, when you write books, you kind of write them for yourself first, while taking into consideration what readers would like, what would bring them back. But that's kind of one of the main things you have to worry about while making sure that you find it enjoyable. That's a big thing with a lot of writers who are starting off with their first book is they get really bored of seeing the writing, and that's a bad thing. You should never actually be bored. There are slower parts of the story, but they can still be exciting in terms of dialogue or just moving the plot forward in some direction. The first 100 pages of this book, was there even any action? I think it started off, the book started off with action. Let me see. Yeah, so the first scene of the book was actually action. Because I wanted to make it exciting. The first I think the first chapter of the first book was also had an action scene, and that's to pull you in, but it didn't immediately start off with action, and this one does. But then the subsequent chapters, like chapter 2, 3, 4, yeah, those have pretty much no action. They're mostly dialogue, mostly just taking in information, and trying to connect the dots. So there's a lot of mystery, trying to figure out things. Chapter 5 is a little tournament scene, not the whole chapter, but it does introduce or reintroduce a couple characters. And yeah, it kind of moves things along and creates more mystery. And then chapter 6 and 7 introduce even more mystery, make you ask even more questions. And then chapter 8 is action again. This is from a separate character's point of view, because this series generally follows one character, but in each book I have one chapter that follows a completely different character that actually dies at the end of the chapter. Kind of reminds me of the prologues in A Song of Ice and Fire, where I'm pretty sure in every single prologue the character that it follows dies or something horrible happens to them, and that's kind of what happens. It's just in this book, that's chapter 8. In my first book, that's chapter 3, and then I think in the book after this, it'll also be like chapter 3 or 4. Yeah, so yeah, it's pretty bad, but it also introduces some of the villains that will, impact the coming chapters. Usually the chapter that comes immediately after that. The chapter 9 and 10 and 11 are just full on action and whatnot. And that's, yeah. So like, I'm not telling you to take the blueprint and just apply it perfectly to your own story, but that's the kind of pacing that works for me. It's really, there doesn't have to be like a particular balance from chapter to chapter or some kind of opposite interweaving, you just kind of go with whatever feels right, whatever feels right for the story, the plot, the conflict. You kind of just want to bump up conflict to like a constant 70%. You don't want to go below 50, that's for sure, because then that gets boring, in my opinion. So there always has to be something that the characters are looking for, thinking about. Yeah, something, something that it has to be. There has to be problems. There have to be problems. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm just excited for this one. This one has some crazy conflict, and it's really leading up to one of the most difficult chapters I'll have to write in terms of characters. There's gonna be some real tragedy coming up. It skips like almost a month into the future. So yeah, but that's it for now. I'm gonna check in when I have some writing done. I'll just show you the word count we're working with right now. There you have it. We're at 499 pages and we're at 174,000. So yeah, I'm just adding in the little outline for the first scene. So scene 1 we have ready. That probably bumped it up by 100 words, but it really doesn't matter because I'm not counting it as my word count. So yeah, I'll see you when I have some material. I might get some breakfast, lunch, brunch type stuff soon. It's around 10:39. I woke up a little late, and the outline took me a minute because usually my I'm yapping again, but in my timeline where I have everything kind of just there to remind me of what I'm supposed to be aiming for in each chapter. It's all over the place. There's no particular order to anything. It's just over time I added ideas that I got that I thought would be really interesting, and so putting them into an order that makes sense, into a kind of arc for the chapter, a beginning, middle, and end, is a little difficult. So yeah, I wouldn't say especially if you're a gardener, I wouldn't say you should do this, because that might just bore you to death and then you feel like you already wrote the chapter before you wrote it. But I keep it as loose as possible, as I've said before. So yeah, I don't know what they're gonna say. I don't know what they're gonna exactly do, how it's gonna look. Kind of have the actual the setting and the scene progression and some of the not dialogue, but like I kind of know what they're gonna say based on what needs to be said to move the plot along. So that's all in my head right now. So yeah, I'm gonna get it out. No more procrastination. I'll see you. I'll see you when I see you. Did not get that much work done, but I'm hungry as hell. So I'm gonna make myself the stir fry. Gotta heat some noodles up. So it's pretty much at 12. It's 11:59 a.m. right now. So I'm gonna make myself some not I guess stir fry. Yeah, just gotta make the noodles, as I said, and yeah, it was so good last night, guys. Like I'm a pro. I'm a chef. I'm telling you, I could impress you. I can impress you with my stir fry, with my curry. But yeah, I'm gonna do it, and then I'm gonna get back to more work. I'm gonna probably work for another hour or so before I go do back day. Hell yeah. Either way, I'll see you then. All right, I'm at the gym now. Oh, back day today. Looking forward to it. So yeah, didn't write all that much again. Honestly, it's a hard intro to the chapter. Well, not hard. It's just it's not the most exciting intro. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. I'm not sure. But yeah, I just feel like maybe some exercise might help. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. So I'll see you after. Hopefully we get that word count up. Yeah, about 1,000 words left, maybe a little less. I don't know. I don't remember what I checked. But yeah, I'll get to it. Ooh. All right, I'm back in my funky shirt after the workout. It's a little late now. It's almost 4:20. It's quite a lazy day today, to be honest. I've not gotten all that much work. Didn't follow the schedule as planned because I woke up late, so it always screws me up when I do that. But yeah, it got me thinking. Just damn, it's difficult. It's difficult writing a series, man. Because the thing is, you gotta go on this journey with these characters for years on end. You know, unless you're very quick with however you write your series. If the books are short, you might not have to spend years, but still you spend a long time with these characters. And sometimes you're like, man, I wish I could write something else. And that's why I have several projects at the same time, because at least I have that variety. I like variety. There's also another book series I'm writing. Not at the moment. I've written the first book. It's just, you know, there's 4 more after that one. That's the sci-fi series. I've been planning for also years. But that's the whole thing. Like, I haven't written a single standalone book. I suppose my first book could be considered standalone. If you wanted to read it as a standalone, you could. It stands on its own, that's for sure. It's just, you know, it has some unanswered questions that take you into the rest of the series. But yeah, it's like which one do you choose when you actually when it comes down to it? I suppose, I mean, a standalone is probably the best for a debut author or someone who's never written a book before, because you don't have that commitment to a particular series. You know, there's a lot of negatives and downsides to writing a series. Like, you know, you might get tired of it yourself. You might get really sick of it. You might start hating it, that's a very unfortunate reality for some writers. But there's also the fact, like, you know, if you commit to it early on, and then you garner an audience, they might not like the rest of the books. So, you know, you did all this work for nothing. But I don't see it that way. I think, you know, you're writing for yourself first and foremost, especially your first book. Like, you don't want to just please everyone but yourself, because you'll never really get to it if you do it that way. But it's really, if you've had an idea that's stuck around in your mind for years already. You're probably set to finish it once you get to writing it. That's what happened with this series. Uh, I came up with this book when I was like 14. It's been like 7 years, and I'm not tired of it. But that's because I think I chose a strong concept, for myself, to really follow through with. And same with the sci-fi series. I think I came up with it. Yeah, I came up with it when I was like 17, 18. Took me a while to write the book because I was focused on the first series, but I did get it done, and I'm sticking with it, so I'm happy with it. And there's other series I planned out too. I'm one of those people who just kind of goes crazy with, like, when there's those ideas that really stick to me, I refuse to let them go. Well, I only let go of the ideas that that they weren't very strong to begin with, or I didn't have a very detailed, not plan, but like image in my mind, if you know what I mean. There's certain stories that you come up with, and you just can't stop thinking just about the visuals itself. Like, it's not even this, like, you think of the story, you think about the characters, but it's like you just imagine scenes in your head. A lot of people describe it like a movie trailer in their head, which it's fun. Usually that's a waste of time, but sometimes you can reinforce ideas and scenes and really grow them in your head. Which is, if you do that over and over and over again, then you probably have an idea that'll stick around for good. And so those you want to pursue, because there's opportunity cost with everything you write, where what you're writing right now isn't exactly what you could have written. You could have been writing something else, so you better be happy with what you're writing. Right, so if you're starting to get tired of something at like 10K words, drop it, or just, you don't have to throw it out, delete it. You might have some reinvigorated, moment where you really like it again, and that happens. I don't know if I've had any ideas like that before. Probably this series back when I was 14. I came up with it when I was 14, and I never thought I'd actually write it. It was just like this enjoyable story that I came up with in my head, because at the time I purely wanted to be a screenwriter and just wanted to write books on the side, until I was 16 and realized I prefer to just write novels. That's kind of more my calling. And then movies, of course, that's kind of, it's not like it's on the side necessarily, but I don't want to write movies all the time, because I know that the industry is quite brutal. Not in the same way that publishing is, where just moviegoers are a lot more brutal. There's also a completely different process to it. There's this, there's pre-production, production, post-production. Hundreds, if not thousands, of people are involved in the project, like a movie. And like, screenwriters do get fucked over quite a bit. I'm not ultra experienced. I can't tell you all the ways it could go wrong. I've heard of many ways it could go wrong. When you do sell your rights away, if you don't do it the right way, you could just be completely non-credited with, because it changes so much. If a studio likes your story, but they're not in love with it and they want to change it, they could, when your rights are gone, they could hire other screenwriters to fix it to whatever demands they have. And once a certain percentage is changed, I think 50% of the script is changed, then you're no longer credited. So that's a problem. And in publishing, you're always credited. There's very, unless you get absolutely just, I don't know, just blasted by some publishing company. I don't know. I've never heard of that kind of thing happening. Especially in self-publishing, which I'm pursuing. You're your own boss. Your rights are your rights. Copyright in general, you own everything you create immediately. You don't even have to register it. It's just, registration is better if you're selling stuff. But yeah, yeah. So I definitely chose one over the other, but one is definitely more work heavy. I would say writing novels is just the word count, the complexity, and whatnot. Screenwriting has its own benefits and hardships. Definitely the fact that you have to be very concise and you really have to edit. That's why I'm using the vomit draft, obviously. I have my first draft in there. Then when I transcribe it, we have a second draft essentially, because I look out for all the things that my mentor told me to watch out for. Which soon I will get more advice. I'm hoping to get on a call with him eventually. Maybe even, I don't know, put him on here, interview him or something. I would love to get to really have a very in-depth conversation in person or on a video call. But yeah, so when it comes to opportunity cost and which one you should choose, those are the kinds of a series or a standalone. It's based on your values as a writer or author, and if you think you can pull through with the idea you have. So the number one indicator is if something sticks around for years, it's probably going to keep sticking around. It's probably pretty rare. Most of my friends have this. They usually have at least one idea, this big series idea. They've all wanted to write book series. Who hasn't, right? Like non-writers even, like everyone has had this desire to write book series or just a book. But book series are usually that's actually the goal of most authors, because that's where you create a franchise. You can sell rights to films, all these other things, which I'm not particularly interested in selling rights to films. Honestly, I'd much rather have an anime made out of my books. I feel like the format is way better, because this book's 800 pages. It's not going to make a great movie. They're going to cut out so much that's so important, because I'm structuring it in a way and pacing it in a way that makes sense, at least to me right now. Editing wise, it'll probably be trimmed down, like every book is, but it's made in a way where the story flows and everything connects in a way. And if you were to cut a major part out, it would just feel so empty and feel a little more soulless. And that's ironic, because this soul is one of the words in the title of this book. So yeah, it's very soulful in my opinion. But yeah, it's 4:30 almost now, so I'm gonna quit yapping. That's the cost book series, standalone. Standalone's more for an idea that can stand on its own and is a concise story. Every loose end is tied up with maybe some mystery. There's books like American Psycho, which it depends on your genre, but that's the thing, right? That's more of like a horror or thriller. And if you're writing something like like romance, for example, you have to tie up tie up loose ends. You can't. I don't know. I've never heard of there being like a open-ended conclusion. But anyway, that's that. I'm gonna get some more writing before I have to make dinner. So yeah, see you then. We got it done. All right, and that's the end of the day right there. I moved out because I got a little allergic reaction on my face. I don't know if you can see, it looks like a red spot. Awful. Still don't know what it is, so I have to go and see a dermatologist sometime soon. But I'm busy as balls, so busy as balls. Anyway, yeah, that's the end of the video. Day 13, quite successful. I suppose in terms of word count. Again, I'm not the best at scheduling, so I'm still getting better at that. But there's a trade-off. Having to do other things, hanging out with people. But that's it's a good trade-off to make to stay sane. But yeah, I'm gonna just keep on trying to make sure I try to stay on schedule and get stuff done before the end of the day. But life gets in the way, and you get distracted by other things. So I'm definitely gonna work on just distraction and just trying to lock in despite the circumstances. That's what I did yesterday. I got to 2.7K. Today I got to 1,800, so that's very nice. I keep getting ahead of the word count, so I have a lot of buffer room now. I haven't actually added it all up, but I don't really care, because I don't really, I don't feel like falling under the word count any of the days. just happens. It happened once so far, I believe. Once or twice. But I got so far ahead that it doesn't really matter, so we definitely caught up. But yeah, that's good old day 13. Tomorrow's going to be 2 full weeks of the challenge, though I've already kind of did that with the prep days. So yeah, we're definitely getting to 50K, so it's really looking up. Yeah, I'm just pretty happy with it. As long as I get more screenwriting done, which I will also get done. Yeah, it'll be great. It'll be great. Also, the editing. I've been really neglecting that these past few days. Not in general, just these past few days, because, well, you know, it's just writing so much burns you out, and then you don't feel like looking at a screen anymore than you have to. And the only like things I have to do is the challenge on top of the screenwriting. So editing is just the worst. It's just the worst, because like you're not even actually doing anything creative. It's all just logical. To be honest, it's all just like trying to make sure it makes sense. And of course my editor did that for me, but I am kind of tuning things to my own way. Like I take his advice, his edits, and then I also add whatever I think is missing, or whatever I think should be written better. If I just hate a sentence, I'm gonna have to change the sentence, and so that's just more logic work. So my brain's gonna explode. But yeah, it's cold out here. Just steps outside for a little nice end of the day talk. That's that. So yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully we get that schedule down. We'll see. I'm just documenting as I go along, so see you then.